the place you can find the knowledge of the world. Just kidding, guys. Let's get started.
Welcome, guys, to the first episode of English of People, a podcast dedicated to you, to my beautiful students and people listening to this. If you are, this is the English of People. Guys, I want to commence this 4 years in the past. I want to commence this in a place named Cartolandia. Cartolandia, guys, if you don't know it, is a place located in Mexico City. 4 years ago, I would serve as a missionary of the church, of my church, and I will spend time with these people from Cartolandia, and I will sometimes daily visit them. Cartolandia, guys, is a neighborhood, is a whole neighborhood where you see, or you could see, that the houses are made out of trash. Literally trash. So you would visit the place and you will see all this trash, and with the shape or trying to construct a house. People will live there, families, complete families of 4 or 5 or 6 will live in. The impressive part of this is I would see some children, 6 years old children, or even babies, live in these poor conditions. I will also see children to consume drugs there. Now, guys, why am I starting speaking about Cartolandia? Why is it relevant into this channel? Because this channel is dedicated to education. And I know you're not living in that circumstances. Probably your house is nicer than those type of houses. And, it's not your circumstances. You're not taking drugs and you don't live in Cartolandia. I know. But for me, Cartolandia is an incarnation of no education, zero education. And for that, you will see in Cartolandia very sad, angry, and very unhappy lives. So we the common people that live in normal houses, we don't have that. But something that we still suffer is the lack of education. So this is me spending so much time on YouTube, and this is maybe my friends spending so much time on YouTube, or watching movies, Netflix and stuff like that, wherever we will see. And where I'm going with this is that we spend so much time on things that are not relevant or important. And education, guys, and knowledge is the power to be happier and to be healthier and to be smarter and just to have a better life. So with that having said, guys, let's go dive into the English of people. Let's go dive into interesting pieces of English and interesting pieces of history and science. Let's get started, guys. This is the piece of English number 1. This piece of interesting English is it's quite simple but funny and interesting. So if you are trying to improve your English, I hope this is useful, practical, and interesting. So guys, In this moment, please think. Think of a friend. Maybe you have a friend and his name or her, his name is Eduardo or her name is Samantha or Jessica. And now you have this friend, maybe it's Eduardo, and think about an object that Eduardo uses very much. Okay, you have it. Now, maybe this object that he uses very much is an Xbox. So, an Xbox is an object, but imagine that you want describe Eduardo, our imaginary friend Eduardo. You want to describe Eduardo using the object Xbox, because he spends so much time using an Xbox. It will be good describe him with this word, with this object. So, for example, you could say that my friend Eduardo is very Xboxy. 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 Now, this sounds a little weird, but even though probably this adjective doesn't exist, it might exist because follows a rule that when you add, you put a y, the letter y at the end of an object, this can become an adjective. Now, for example, I'm gonna go over some other examples that you might used. For example, you could say if a friend also likes to play games, all different types of games, you could say that he is, Gamy. He's a Gamy. Samantha is very gamey. Now, game is not an adjective, but adding a y at the end could be an adjective, gamey. Now, one more thing, you could say that, for example, I have a friend who likes to read books, and he always, is reading books. So I would describe him, because these objects is something that is really connected to him. I will say that my friend is very booky. And these guys is how you could use objects to describe people. I hope, guys, that this is useful and you can use it in your daily English. Adding y at the end of the words. I am very angry, and I want to tell you why. Well, I'm angry because when I was in elementary school, I learned that the brilliant and incredible Nicholas Copernicus was, this guy who discovered that the Earth was not flat, but round. Now, it's true that Nicholas Copernicus was a great revolutionary. He was not the first one. Actually, this goes back long ago. Let's go back to Alexandria. In Alexandria, approximately 276 years before Christ, this man, Eratosthenes, he was a Greek. He discovered that the earth was round. Now, guys, this is an interesting thing because this is long time before Copernicus. If you look at the internet, Copernicus was born in the year 1473, or more simply 1473. This is, thousands, almost 2,000 years of difference between one and the other. So, going back to Eratosthenes, this Greek man, he lived in Alexandria. He was in Alexandria. He was reading a book. In this book that I don't know the name, he read that in a place called Aswan. Now, Alexandria, I want to give you a little bit of context. Alexandria, it's Egypt is the modern Alexandria. So before Egypt, would be Alexandria, according to this beautiful book that I have. So Alexandria is fairly in a distance between Alexandria and Aswan. So Aswan is close from the Nile River, also close from Egypt, Aswan. And this is the interesting part. He observed that, he read that in Aswan, when you nail a stick onto the floor or onto the earth, in one part of the day, the sun didn't produce any shade. And he was like, interesting. That doesn't happen here in Alexandria. So he went, there in Alexandria, and he nailed a stick again onto the earth, and he, was all the daytime observing, and he observed that at one moment of the day, one little shade still appeared under the stick, and he repeated the process. Now this process took a year to because this happened in the summer. So he was very puzzled. He was very puzzled why this was happening. So, but he had to wait a year to repeat the process, because this happened. This effect of not producing any shade was in the summer in a specific time. So he had to supposedly, according to the book, he had to wait another year. So he repeats the experiment again. He nails the stick on Alexandria, and he again has a little shade. So it was 7 grades of this shade, 7 grades of this shade. It was very, very, very little, but it was producing it. Now, he went to Aswan, and he nailed the stick, and he saw that zero shade was produced at one moment of the day. And he was very confused, like, why this is freaking possible? How is possible that in Alexandria, I put the stick and I see a shade, but in Aswan there is no shade. In one moment of the day there is no shade. How is that possible? In that at that moment, I'm not really sure, but it's kind of believed that it was flat. Still the idea was that the Earth was flat. Earth was flat. So he was like, no, it's not possible. the Earth must be round. And that moment, guys, is when was at least documented that the man discovered that the Earth was round. And this is happening before Copernicus. This is happening almost 2,000 years before Copernicus. Now, this is not all. This is not all. This is a Greek, imagine Aristoteles, and with not much technology. He also wanted to, he said, Earth is round. What is the diameter? The diameter. In a circle, you have the ratio, but also you have the diameter. And he wanted to calculate the diameter of the Earth, and he did. And he calculated that it was 4,000 kilometers, and basically he was super close. He just missed a few hundred of kilometers, but basically he discovered at that moment that it was 40,000 kilometers the diameter of the Earth. Incredible. This is happening 2,000, almost 2,000 years before Copernicus. The question is why we learned Copernicus was the first man. I don't know. But this is incredible. This is incredible. With no technology, with not much no exist a telescope. A Greek, with his brain and determination, discovered the roundness of the Earth thousands of years ago.